How are we getting on, lads? Today we've got ourselves a guest. Fairly big guest. And how about you introduce yourself, lad?
Well, thank you very much. I guess you mean fairly big as in kind of I'm 6'3" and kind of quite wide. Because I wouldn't say big in the successful. I wouldn't say big there, but my name's Greg Draven. I'm an actor from the United Kingdom. Thank you very, very much for having me on.
Of course.
Right on, yeah.
So we just want to talk a little bit about your career, the beginning, and then what you're doing at the moment. What you can't talk about at the moment, and then probably going to go on some major tangents like we always do. Have some good fun.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Okay, tell us from the start. Like, how'd you get into acting? Where did it all start?
So where did it all start? Truthfully, it all started probably around about 30 years ago or 32 years ago when I was 12, 13. I enrolled in a stage school, or my mother enrolled me in a stage school, Brighton Drama Centre, and I absolutely loved it. But it got quite expensive, as lots of stage schools do. And I was raised by a single mother. We were a very, very low income family. So that kind of ended. And then school, college, mundane job, responsibilities, family kind of all picked up. But then as I was approaching my mid-30s, I had some friends who were making some productions. A friend of mine called Gary Andrews, he was making a film called Spirit of Albion based on the album of another friend of mine. And I was like, oh, I'd love to come along and be an extra for the day if I could. And he was like, yeah, come along, that'll be fun. And, watching the process there really, really kind of really intrigued me and really grabbed me. And I thought, oh, I could actually imagine doing this a lot more. I'm really enjoying this. So I started looking for more friends who were making things. And another friend of mine, Mark English, he was writing a sequel to a film he wrote. The film he first wrote was called Return to Ravenswood, and the sequel was called Ravenswood. So it's kind of all a bit arse about face, but it makes sense if you've watched the film. So I did a few days on that and really, really enjoyed getting into that. And then I lucked out, I think, in 2010, and I got a call because I was a member, or still am a member, of a drumming group in Eastbourne called Pentacle Drummers. Excuse me. And a production was looking for a Viking drummer, and that turned out to be performing for Florence and the Machine for their 2010 music video Dog Days. So I kind of did that and loved it. And so Dog Days back in 2010 was probably my first ever real, I'm going to be in something that people are actually going to go and see, or people will actually see. And so from then it's just been kind of trying to work out little bits where I can go, trying to find out how to get into the industry. Do I just luck my way into the industry, or do I try and have a game plan? I tried to luck my way into the industry. First of all, didn't really work. So then I had to work out a game plan and actually look at how I can make this work. And many years ago, I attended a comic con, or a multi-genre con called WinterCon in Eastbourne. And I met an actor called James Payton. Now, James Payton played Captain America he played Hitler in Captain America, the first Avenger. And I remember approaching him really sheepishly and saying, hey, hello there, Mr. Payton. I'd really love to be an actor. Can you give me some tips? And he said, get yourself on Spotlight, get yourself some headshots, get yourself a show reel. That's it. Payton, Payton. So yeah, hit him up. So I followed his advice and worked out what I needed to do to get onto Spotlight. And it's really hard to get onto Spotlight as a kind of middle-aged actor. I don't have any acting qualifications, and so you've got to have 5 professional paid acting roles. So I just started hustling and phoning up people, finding friends who was willing to actually pay me to work on their productions, and just just started hustling and working on independent productions. I signed up with an extras agency called Universal Extras way back in 2015, I believe it was, and I got a call for a movie. So this was when things kind of really tipped, and I kind of then managed to get myself an agent, a proper agent. So I found out that they needed some Vikings to work on Justice League. So I went along, and I'm a massive Batman fan, and my son Hunter, we absolutely love the DC universe. So I was incredibly excited, and I really lucked out on set. Getting to work with Zack Snyder was absolutely fantastic. So I did some work on that, managed to get bumped up to featured, so which was nice. So I'm the Viking that buries the mother box, and I'm the king. You know, I'm one of the king's guard, the king's right hand man. And working with Zack was an absolute honor and an absolute pleasure. Now, after that, I then put some feelers out to try and find an agent. And I found an agent who was based over in Hastings, which is around about 15-20 minutes drive away from me. I went and met them. But at that time, I wasn't on Spotlight. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but Spotlight is kind of the casting platform for actors in the UK. All of the major TV shows, major films, major theatre productions, unless you're a named actor, they are cast through Spotlight. So that's where you find all the good jobs. But not a lot of agents will take you unless you're on Spotlight. However, this agent, Emma, over at Madfish Management, she saw the show reel that I'd managed to put together, saw the credits that I'd done, and was kind of really impressed at how I'd forced my way into this industry, that she decided to take me on, and take a chance on me, you know. And I'm forever grateful, because that was really the tipping point for me. I then managed to get my last credit for a spoken professional paid role. We applied to Spotlight. I got approved on Spotlight, and then literally you see the world of acting open up for you, and that's when things really started rolling. But that was only back in 2016, so only 4 years ago. And whilst I've been fortunate in this industry, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I mean, I know some actors come in and they're overnight successes, or they luck out. Like the actor that played Cyborg in Justice League, it was his first major film role, or it was his first credit, really. But Zack Snyder kind of took a chance on him, Ray Fisher, and so it can happen. But mostly it takes years and years and years to become an overnight success. And I have lots of years behind me, not too many years in front of me. So I really want to make this work. So that's a brief, sorry about that, a brief introduction as to how I got involved.
That's incredible, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Being in Justice League, yeah.
Being on Justice League was fantastic. I did an AMA over on Reddit when I kind of introduced myself as one of the extras, or featured extras from Justice League, and I can't tell you how much working with Zack Snyder was amazing. He was one of my favorite directors anyway. Absolutely loved Watchmen, absolutely loved 300. So getting to work with him, and he was just such a dude on set. He really wasn't up himself. He was really down to earth, kind of chatted with all of us, hung out with us. And it was a pleasure, a genuine pleasure to work with Zack. And if I ever got the chance to work with him again, however big, however small, I would absolutely take it. So yeah, working on Justice League was a lot of fun.
What did you think of the theatrical cut of Justice League? Because I know a lot of people didn't actually enjoy it. But...
So what did I think of the theatrical cut? The problem is I'm a massive fan of DC. So to have what happened happen to the theatrical cut of Justice League hurt. I understand why it happened. The studio needed like 5 showings in the cinema a day, and it's easier to do 5 showings of a 2-hour film than it is to do 3 showings of a 3-hour film. The idea is you create more revenue, but sacrifices are made. So sacrifices in storyline, sacrifices in tempo of the film, and of course the tragic death of Zach's daughter, forcing him to pull out, and then Joss Whedon taking over, really changed the dynamic of the film. And whilst Joss Whedon is a great director in his own right, I know things are a bit contentious with Joss at the moment. He is a great, director. I grew up watching Buffy and Angel, and absolutely loved Firefly and Serenity. They were very, very different styles of directing. I didn't get to work with Joss Whedon. I was asked if I could go back, but they then decided that they weren't going to refilm any of the history scene, so I only got to work with Zach. But the theatrical cut, I was excited because it's Batman, Superman, and Justice League.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It was a big deal. And Affleck, oh man, Affleck was the bomb in Justice League. He really was. He was great. He was great as Batman. And I really wish we could see more of Ben Affleck as Batman. Very sad we're not going to, as it stands at the moment. But when the film came out, it was a disappointing film, because obviously the Snyder Cut is going to be released. Thank you, HBO Max, for that. So we will see what Zach's vision is going to be. And the Ultimate Edition of Batman versus Superman is an order of magnitude better than the theatrical version. The director's cut of Sucker Punch is much better than the theatrical version. So it is going to be amazing, and it's going to be Zach's true vision. So the fans, I believe, will truly have the Justice League that everyone deserves. Yeah,
well, I know that I know from the trailer that Darkseid is going to be in it this time instead of I don't know if Steppenwolf's still going to be in it, but I know that Darkseid is definitely going to be in it.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's already making it a good bit better. Like,
absolutely. When we were filming, and this, I did an interview with Screen Rant, Stephen Colbert. Bizarrely, I got this email out of the blue from Stephen Colbert, and I was like, wow, Stephen Colbert wants to interview me. Holy hell. But it was a different Stephen Colbert. He's one of the writers of Screen Rant. We've become friends since, and he's a really, really good bloke. I did an interview when he was asking me about the history scene. Who were we fighting? Who was with us? And at the time, I wasn't really sure what could be said. And he found me through my AMA that I did on Reddit. So, I was just open and honest with the information that I could give without potentially damaging, the reputation of the film, which, it's always really tough as an actor, what you can say, what you can't say, what you should say, what you shouldn't say, because as we know, Ray Fisher recently has rescinded some statements that he made about Joss. As I said, I didn't work with Joss, so I can't really comment on that. But it is difficult as to what you can and what you can't say. And whilst films are being promoted, as an actor, you're not allowed to say anything negative about the film. Obviously, you want the film to succeed.
Well, you want to keep a job,
and you want to keep your job. I'm so impressed with how he's come out as an actor who still has very few film credits, and he's not, he was probably the least well-known member of the cast, of the principal cast, but he's had the balls to say what he feels, and he's had the balls to stick to his guns when he's been able to, and I respect that so much. I don't think there's enough of that in this industry, but I understand why there isn't. But it's also incredibly sad why there isn't. So, there's that.
I think John Boyega is similar in that fashion with Star Wars, because I know that I don't think he enjoyed the most recent Star Wars movies that he was in.
Sorry, who was that? John Boyega, did you say?
Yeah.
I'm not really too sure about that. I haven't seen anything with regards to that. We got Disney Plus. We've recently watched The Rise of Skywalker, and I really enjoyed that. One of the difficulties of being an actor is you start to view and look at productions through a critical eye rather than an entertainment eye. Sometimes you just want to sit down with some popcorn and enjoy a film, and I think the theatrical cut of Justice League allows you to do that if you kind of turn your mind off, and if you just want a film that's got Batman and Superman and Steppenwolf and some awesome fights in it, and don't worry too much about a moustache, but just enjoy the film. But as an actor, you start looking at it and think, oh, I wonder what he was thinking there. I wonder how they did that. I wonder how they did that. And then you also start to wonder, well, did you as an actor, I can tell that you as an actor didn't enjoy this scene, or you felt crap that this scene did it this. So it does take a bit of the shine off of it sometimes, sadly. Yeah. But when I've recently watched Star Wars, I've enjoyed it. So yeah. But if that's the way John Boyega feels, then he's the architect of his own thoughts on that, and I feel sad for him about that. But he was in Star Wars still. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even I don't think he's openly said that he doesn't like it. He's just been like when he's asked about it, he's just like, like
he made a joke about laying pipe with Ray.
And he also, what else he said?
That then he got him cancelled.
Yeah.
He made a joke about what? I didn't quite hear that.
Laying pipe with Ray.
Oh.
Well, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Well,
I can't remember when that was. It was in the last few months, but oh my god.
Yeah, he got cancelled.
Everyone freaked.
Well, Disney are incredibly protective over their intellectual property, aren't they? And Disney are a really, really clean cut company. So, yeah, I guess I can imagine that would get him in trouble.
Yeah.
But, what are they going to do? Replace him? I guess not.
I remember he was asked in an interview if he'd ever come back and play a Star Wars character in not a film or something, because obviously they're not continuing the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, they're not going to Disney Plus me.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, okay. It was so bad.
But it is, obviously as actors and young actors, and I include myself in young, as in I'm young in my career, not as in I'm young in physically, but young in my career. It is exciting, and it is cool to be part of franchises that you watched as a kid, or you read the comics, or so there is an element of fairy tale and not really knowing your place, and maybe saying things that you shouldn't say, and bless him, but he's still been in Star Wars. That's cool.
Yeah, that is
big deal.
Yeah.
You spoke a second ago about you watch a movie and you think, oh, how would the actor act? We've been told before by an actor yesterday, actually. What he likes to do is he likes to base the character he's playing off someone he knows. So I'd like to ask about your acting methods.
Okay, so my acting methods. Well, I'm not really what you would call a character actor. I would dearly love to be a character actor, but I don't think I am a character actor. When I've had characters that are maybe not who I am, obviously being kind of 6'3" and a big guy, I'm kind of bold and brash, as lots of actors are. And I performed a role in a short film called oh crikey! I want to make sure I get the name of the film right. It was a short film. It was done by Jonathan Brooks. Gunmetal Max, Into the City of Light. Gunmetal Max is kind of a synthwave short film. the aesthetics are absolutely beautiful, but the character I played was kind of a real downtrodden, meek. If you imagine, you've watched Game of Thrones, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. If you imagine what Reek was like after he was kind of emasculated, he was kind of really timid and downtrodden. Well, the character that I was playing was a little bit like that, fully intact, I'd like to say, but a little bit like that. And I'm kind of not like that. But obviously, as an actor, we have to tap into that. So I just approached that role with the aid of my wife. She's brilliant. She helps me out so much. And I approached that with how can I play, being kind of 6'3" and quite physically imposing. How can I play a meek, timid character who's got this guy, holding power over him. And the truth is, I don't have any experience to pull from. I don't want to speak to my friends and say, oh, you're a kind of a meek, timid person that's always intimidated by people. How do you feel about that? Because that's a crappy thing to do.
I could compare what you did there to something I seen in Nobody Knows I'm Here. What's the actor's name again? Jorge Garcia. He did exactly that in this movie. Former child star, and then it affected mentally, and he was just non-verbal. He didn't talk, and he always felt like tiny compared to everyone else. But he's I guess he's the same size and height as you.
Yeah. And it's and when you don't have that experience, so being an actor who's 44, I've got lots of lifetime experience, but I don't have that experience. So this is where you just have to imagine what it would be like. I didn't want to speak to anybody about this because it's something that might make someone, so I can't research it, and speak to anyone about it because it might make them feel like crap. So with Jack Christensen and Jonathan Brooks, we rehearsed until we got that right. So we met up, we did a read through and then a rehearsal, and then on the night of the film, so it was only a short film, but on the night of the film, Jack and I would rehearse that until we felt I'd fallen into that role and kind of finally, okay, tweaked, this is how, and this is how I'm going to react. And like when you've got a pit bull whose owner beats it totally, the pit bull could snap at any moment and just tear the owner apart, but he's constantly downtrodden and fearful. I had to try and get that. So it was just a case of doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it until it clicked and fell into place. Then we roll the camera and hope that we managed to hold on to that energy. But I think we did. I think we did. The short film's really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, look, there he is. Yeah. Fantastic. I really, really enjoyed that shoot. Really enjoyed it. It was nice to be able to get my teeth into something that wasn't traditionally the kind of strong archetypal warrior bad guy that it would be easy to cast me as.
Yeah. And you got cast for that in 13 Graves.
Yeah. So 13 Graves, that was an awesome project, absolutely awesome. So I met the director, Jonathan Langridge.
Here's your first photo here.
Sorry?
I said you're the first photo that shows up for it.
Yeah, known for 13 Graves. I ended up becoming one of the producers on that movie as well. So what happened there was, I was at a business networking thing with kind of my previous employment, which I did social media management for companies, and I was handed the microphone because I wanted to ask the panel a question. And the director and writer of 13 Graves, I remember him coming over after hearing my voice and saying, I need to meet the guy that's got this voice. And so realized that he was from Eastbourne. I'm from Eastbourne as well. He said, I'm a director. And I was like, I'm an actor. What are the chances? And so he had already kind of got half of a film in mind. But the film stuttered at a certain point. He couldn't get past what happened past a certain point. And then after meeting me, he was like, that's when these guys meet you, and that's when the film kind of came to completion. Then he sat down and he wrote the rest of the film, beaved away, and I showed him my show reel because I was like, I don't just want full nepotism, I want you to think that I'm right for the role. And in my show reel, he said, I want to see you as the bad guy in a movie, so you can be the bad guy in this movie. So I got to play the bad guy, the woodsman, who is this malevolent force of nature in 13 Grades. Don't want to give too much away. It's a really good film. Check it out. It's a good old British independent horror / gangster film. Really, really recommend you check it out. And here's something I don't think I've ever told anyone before. I wanted this movie to happen so badly that I kind of donated 3 months of my time to ensure that it happened. So, I ended up becoming an associate producer, and I was pulling in favors from all my friends, getting other businesses involved, getting my friends involved to work as supporting artists on the film, because I had to make the bloody movie happen, because I was going to play the bad guy in it. Yeah. And it was, I learned more about making movies on 13 Graves than I ever have by reading anything or watching anything, or listening to courses or seminars on filmmaking. The biggest trial by fire is do it. Go out there and do it. Make the mistakes, you learn from those. And made a ton of mistakes on that, but it worked out fantastically.
We definitely agree with trial by fire on this podcast. Definitely.
Trial by fire is without a doubt the best way to do anything, I think, because even if it doesn't work, you've then got the experience, and if it does work, you've got a finished product. So it's kind of a win-win. You can't go wrong. And if it fails, it doesn't matter, because you've learned. I'm a big fan of Metallica, and James Hetfield once said he's got a tattoo that says "Dare to fail." And that means it doesn't matter whether you think you're going to succeed. Do it anyway, because if you fail, you've learned the way not to do it next time. So, that's the way I approach dare to fail. I love that.
That's a pretty good one, actually.
It's very, very
good.
Cool.
Yeah, because if you don't try it, you're going to fail anyway. Like,
absolutely.
Exactly,
that was kind of our idea with asking you to get on. Is like, okay, we ask, what's the worst he can say? No.
Well, I'm genuinely honoured and blown away that you've asked me to appear on your show. It's I don't think I'm successful by any sense of the imagination. This year was going to be my year. I had quite a lot planned this year.
Same here.
I think we all did, yeah.
We're reclaiming a title in the European Championships this year, and that got cancelled.
Oh, next time.
Next year.
Exactly.
Yeah. Damn shame.
2021 is it?
Huh? What you say?
2021 is the year.
2021. But we said 2020 was the year. Who knows what's going to happen in 2021? Let's not.
Hopefully
don't curse it.
Yeah.
Don't curse it.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Whoa, my microphone. What was I going to ask? I was going to ask about your involvement as Hagrid.
Oh wow!
Now I couldn't tell from the IMDb. Were you Hagrid in only one thing, or were you Hagrid's body double always?
So I wasn't Hagrid's body double for the films. It's a lot of the things I have done. It's always weird. There's the normal way that you enter an acting career. Normally you're kind of middle class. You don't have to worry about money. You go to Roseproof or RADA and you make your way up that way. I'm kind of trying to come in sideways and jam myself in wherever I can. My primary goal is to be successful so that I can feed my family and look after my family comfortably, So I will try and make anything work. And back in 2018, I got a call from a friend of mine, Andy Harmer. He owns a lookalikes agency in Eastbourne called Lookalikes. Andy Harmer is the David Beckham lookalike. He's been in loads of stuff as David Beckham. And a production contacted him and were looking for, at the time, a body double for Robbie Coltrane for Hagrid, and I happened to be. Yeah, God, look at those photos. Oh, that. Oh, dear, oh me. Bless. So he called me up and he said, "I've got this job, but I need you to sign an NDA before I can tell you what it is." So of course, the moment anyone says NDA, you're like, "Oh, this is going to be juicy." Okay, so I'll sign it, send it off, and then I had an interview with, I think her name was Caroline. I hope it was. She was one of the assistant directors for what turned out to be Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure video shoot. And I remember it, I was going to say vividly, but it's more vaguely than vividly now. But it was something along the lines of, I had this phone call with her, and at the time, I think I just won a TV commercial for Haribo, which is a lot of fun.
I've seen that. I love that so much. Because
Yeah.
you're this big, imposing guy.
Oh, wait,
and a little kid's voice.
it-
Voice.
I don't know if we're allowed to play that, but I'll leave it out for now.
Yeah. Well, if you can, great. If you can't, also great. Go and check out Rock Band Haribo. But so I had just won the Haribo advert, so I was kind of in a bit of a daze, and that's awesome. I've just won this Haribo advert. I've got some other stuff going on. Everything's going well. So when I had the telephone interview and audition, this is going to sound really awful. Well, I don't know, maybe. Well, let's see. But I didn't have anything to prove. And to a degree, I wasn't worried about whether I got this job or not. So I was just able to be free and open about why I would love to do the job working as Hagrid. And I said, well, look, I've never done mocap work before. I'd love to do that. I've never done green screen work before. I'd love to do that. I've never done body doubling work before, because there aren't many bodies that are, my size that need doubling. I'd love to do that. I love the Harry Potter franchise. Absolutely love it. So I'd love to do it for that. And I remember one of the things I said was, so ultimately this would be a massive learning experience for me, because I've never done any of these things before. I thought that immediately meant, well, he's got no experience, we're not going to use him. Then she said, well, look, is there any chance you can pop up to the studios at Leavesden for in-person audition this afternoon? And I was like, no, because I live in Eastbourne and that's about a 3-hour drive away. And I've got to go on the radio tomorrow, and then I've got to go for a costume fitting for Haribo, and then it's my best mate's wedding on the Saturday. So sorry, I can't. And she said, oh, well, we've got a guy coming in this afternoon for an audition, so we'll contact you tomorrow. Now, the moment you hear that they've got someone coming in to audition, and I've just had the audition over the phone, I did the voice as well, you pretty much think, that's it, I'm not going to get it. But I really, really wasn't worried about that. Anyway, the Friday comes. I have to get up early to go over to Brighton for a radio interview with a friend of mine. And I come out of the studio and I open up my email, and I'm just about to get on the train to go to London for the costume fitting for Haribo, and I get an email from the third AD saying, we'd love you to play our Hagrid. Can you be at the studios on Monday? I was like, holy hell, oh my God, this is awesome. So I phoned my wife immediately, and I was like, they want me to be Hagrid. This is so cool. Because, it is cool. It's a cool job. It's a fun job. When you're doing it, it can be really, really hard, long days, but it's so much fun. I was so excited. So yeah, I hired a car, drove up to Leavesden. They found me a hotel. And now, obviously, I'd been at Leavesden Studios 2 years before to work on Justice League, but I was there as an extra. And as an extra, you're treated a bit like cannon fodder.
Trash. You're treated like trash.
No, you're not treated. You're treated well, but it's right. Hand over your phones. You're not allowed to talk to them. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that, because you are a walking prop, and that's understood. You're not treated. I was treated pretty well on Justice League, but when you're working principal, the rules are different. You know, you get there and you're Mr. Draven, and you're, you know, this is your green room, and we'd like you to meet this person. And here's the coolest thing. Here is genuinely the coolest thing about the Hagrid job. I mentioned that I approached an actor at a Comic-Con, James Payton, and he gave me some pointers. He said, do this, do this, do this. Well, on the call sheet was James Payton. He was going to be standing in for Mark Williams playing Arthur Weasley. So a few years after his advice, I was getting to work with James Payton. And that was cool. Like so cool. Oh, sorry, bumped my mic there. That was so cool. And I was so excited to get to work with him. And it's fair to say that I would not have made it through that week without James's help. Because I got to set, and we filmed on one stage at Leavesden, and it's huge. It's so huge. It's intimidating. I had received the script, I think, like the Saturday, but that was the day that it was like my, I was hanging out with my best friend because it was his wedding,
That comes first.
Yeah, so I didn't have the chance to read the script. So I got to the studio and got there, and everyone was like, "Oh, hi, Greg, really pleased to be." And they're like, "Thank you for playing Hagrid." And I'm like, "No, thank you for giving me the job. It's awesome." But then it kind of dawned on me that, and this is going to sound awful, but this is candid and true. I thought, shit, I'm out of my league here. I've blagged my way into a job that I don't know how to do. Shit, they're going to realise I'm a chancer, But Jane, I kind of vocalised this to James. I said, actually, I think I'm out of my depth here. I'm not sure. And he was like, it'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. We've got 3 days to rehearse. Don't you worry a thing about it. And I could not have got through it without James Payton's help. That's the absolute truth. But then the cool thing was we did kind of get into the flow, and we didn't end up having to need to learn the script because we had an auto cue underneath the camera because it's a direct to camera piece. So Hagrid is talking to the audience who are queuing for the ride. So
can you give us a Hagrid voice?
Oh, hello there. Glad you could join us. Now, Mr. Weasley here is going to be helping you get round the place.
Oh, that's really, really good.
That was incredible.
So yeah, that's a little bit of adaptation from the script. Now, obviously, I have a younger voice than Robbie Coltrane had, and obviously, it's not going to be exact, but I think it's pretty.
It was close. Convincing.
I think it's pretty close. So yeah, we were able to read from an auto cue because it was direct, straight down the pipe, direct camera. Working on the green screen was an absolute I want to say joy, because I'd never done anything like it before. So having to imagine that there's a motorbike flying up there, but also there's a motorbike there, so you can't walk through that area, and here's going to be a cage with some pixies. So I learned so much doing that job as well. And then on Wednesday, Robbie comes in, and the whole idea was that myself and James and another actor who was kind of a much smaller version of James, who was playing kind of a scale Mr. Weasley, Jack. So between the three of us, we worked out the scene where we needed to stand, the pace of the scene, so that when Mark Williams and Robbie Coltrane came in, they would look at our performance and go, right, we need to do that, and then go and do it, because they're the top tier actors, aren't they? They know what they're doing. But bless him, Robbie Coltrane was really, really poorly. He had just come out of hospital with osteoarthritis. So he wasn't at 100%. So ultimately what happened is they used both our performances, and basically the Hagrid that you see on screen is a composite of my performance and Robbie Coltrane's face. So what they did is they took this bit of Robbie and put it on my performance. So it's kind of weird. So I didn't double Hagrid. I wasn't standing in, that performance is without a doubt a composite of the two of us together. And I am so proud of having done that. And I remember vividly that I walked in at the end of the shoot to have the Hagrid costume taken off, and Robbie was kind of sat there. So he was kind of looking up at this guy dressed as Hagrid. I'm looking down at Hagrid dressed as Robbie Coltrane, and he just went, "You did the character proud." And I was just like,
Oh,
"Thank you." Don't cry, Greg. Don't cry. And it was that moment of validation that I did the job. You know, I beg your pardon. I did the job, and I was proud of the work I achieved, and I'm so proud that I got to work with James, and so proud that I got to work with Jack, and everyone on set was just amazing. And so I now get why they say that the Harry Potter family is a family, because there was no pressure, there was no over expectation. It was an absolute pleasure to work as Hagrid, and then that allowed me to do a Comic-Con last year up in Manchester. So yeah, you know, small
That's
things
a fun
lead to great.
experience.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, I just get this massive grin every time I think about it, because I just think, how do I get to play as a job? I get to play. You know, this is what acting is. Obviously, deeper roles, you know, you can really throw yourself into them, and you know, some actors go method, and you know, Christian Bale, for example,
He's crazy with method acting.
throws himself in. I don't think I'm a method actor. Maybe I will be one day, I don't know. But we get to play, you know, we get to pretend to be other people for a living.
For money.
And it's been awesome. Yeah, it's been, and I love it, because you know, there's not a lot that I'm good at, but I think I'm okay at this. So, and whilst I'm okay at it, I'm going to continue doing it.
And that was the TED Talk. No, that's great. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you as well, if you could do any role, you could play anyone, any character, what would be your number one pick?
Good question.
Off guard.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. If I could play any character, or yeah, so we talking about if I could play any character, or do you mean
like the Joker or Superman, you know, something like that?
Crikey, well, I like bad guys, and I don't think I would be good enough to play Joker. You know, the film is.
But he is short hair and no beard.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, obviously this would come off if the price was right. Okay, here it is. I would like to play a genuine portrayal of King Arthur, I think. Yeah.
Like down to the books.
Sorry, say that again. You cut out for a second.
Like a historically accurate one.
You know, historically accurate, that's an interesting phrase, because, you know, did the character exist? I don't know. I'm a big fan of Arthurian legend, and I think that there's a good chance that the character of Arthur was a composite of lots of different warlords around at the time.
Yeah.
But John Boorman's film Excalibur is in my top 5 films of all time. I feel a massive affinity to the legend of King Arthur. I have a friend, Professor Roland Rotherham. He lives down in Tintagel. He does lots of tours at the halls of Arthur. I really do connect with the legend. I even liked the Keira Knightley version of King Arthur. Who was the actor? Clive? It's not Clive Owen. It's not Clive Owen, was it? Oh, this is awful. I should know the actor's name. You're going to bring it up on screen, aren't you? Come on, internet, don't fail us now.
Which adaptation?
The Keira Knightley was in it. King Arthur 2004. Is that it? Keira Knightley. Yeah, there it is.
Ah,
Clive. Yeah, it was Clive Owen. I was right. Hurrah! Now
that's so
the
British.
thing
Hurrah!
hurrah, huzzah! The thing I liked about that adaptation. Now, lots of people didn't like it. What I liked about it is it felt more like, so the John Borman Excalibur is an absolute aesthetically beautiful piece of artwork, completely inaccurate because it's set in kind of the 5th century, but plate armor didn't come in till the 11th, 12th century. Nicole Williamson as Merlin has the greatest portrayal of Merlin ever.
That really looks like you.
Oh no. So that is Stellan Skarsgård, and he played one of the attacking Northmen. Can't remember the name of the character, but he that's not King Arthur. That's one of the. But yeah, it is kind of uncanny, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, Stellan Skarsgård, he plays one of the people that King Arthur has to defeat in the film. Clive Owen played King Arthur. Now, Clive Owen in the King Arthur film of 2004, he was a Roman general, I think, who decided to stay in England to help rebuild and unite the tribes of England against the Saxons, which I think Stellan Skarsgård was playing there. It's been a while since I've seen the film. So it is more plausible that King Arthur, or Arturius, which also kind of means the Great Bear, which could have been a rank. Arturius could have been a rank rather than the name of someone. Was a Roman warlord who remained here in order to help see Britain through the transitional phase. The beauty is we don't know, and I kind of like that a little bit. I like the mystery. I like that we don't know. But yes, there's my answer for you. If I could play one character, I would love to play King Arthur. So there we go.
That's a very good answer. Yeah, you said you lived 20 minutes away from Hastings as well, didn't you?
Sorry, say that again.
You said you lived 20 minutes away from Hastings as well, didn't you?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. So I live in Eastbourne, and about 20 minutes away is Battle Abbey, which is where they claim that the Viking Age came to an end at the Battle of Hastings, but it didn't, because of course the Normans who attacked, well, they were descendants of the Northmen. They were Viking descendants. That's why they were called Normans, Northmen, and they didn't consider themselves French. So still, King Harold, a Viking descendant king, was beaten by William the Conqueror, who was a Viking descendant conqueror. So, we remained a Viking nation for a while. But yeah, so we're steeped in history, this part of the country. And I think there is a connection to King Arthur and the coastline around here. But I'm not entirely certain what it is. Maybe I should find out.
Yeah.
Good to know your local history.
Sure, there's so much of it. I've only got a little head.
Thankfully, there's not much around here where we live in Ireland.
Oh, there's tons. There's tons.
It's just bogs and castles.
Yeah,
bogs and castles. That's awesome.
Yeah, our place is like there's no strategic value of the County Offaly, so really? I don't think anyone was here. So everywhere else, plenty.
A nice, peaceful place. Then that's good.
You're wrong, Jared. St. Bridget was here.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, she became a saint on Croton Hill, which is like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So that's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal,
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah. Uncultured.
Uncultured swine, that's me.
No worries.
Yeah. What else? Darragh, help me out here. Ask the man a question. Drawing a blank. Happens once every episode.
Yeah.
So yeah. Honestly, that wasn't the answer I was expecting.
Really?
So you threw me off guard.
Go on, then. What were you expecting? What kind of character did you think I would like to play then?
Like Thor.
Like Thor.
A realistic
Thor,
adaptation of Thor,
yeah,
if you go by the
like
legends.
a realistic Norse mythological adaptation movie.
I am a fan of Germanic legend, and I think I'm now of an age where Odin would be more suitable than Thor, but the legends of King Arthur are at the top for me. Legends of King Arthur are at the top for me, so it would have to be that. I mean, I wouldn't turn down the role.
Very, very much the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't turn down the role of Odin. I wouldn't turn down the role of Thor, but it's not going to be given to me because I just got too much fat on me, sadly. I think I could play Volstagg maybe rather than Thor, but do you pull up Volstagg? Yeah, he's quite a character. So look at some pictures of Volstagg. What you got there? Yeah, right. Okay.
That looks lovely.
So I think I could pull Volstagg off. I don't mean pull him off like that, but I don't know, maybe I do.
Oh, there it is. Perfect. Do you have that
Right.
suit at home, do you?
Sorry, what was that?
I said, do you have that suit?
I might do. Yeah,
Oh,
Volstagg.
Cool character.
Ray Stevens played Volstagg in the Thor movies, and he has one of the greatest lines in a film, and I remember it vividly. He after they're defeated in the battle, he's kind of eating himself, better, and Thor has a go at him, and he says, "Do not mistake my appetite for apathy," and I love that.
Oh
line.
yeah, I remember that.
I absolutely adore that line, and I've been trying to find a way that I can use that line in my life somehow. It hasn't happened yet, but one day I'm going to use that line.
It's just like on the tip of your tongue, always ready to be said.
It's always there, ready. Do not mistake my appetite for apathy. Yeah, love it. And Ray Stevens, God, he's an awesome actor. He played Blackbeard in Black Sails as well. That was great. I'd love to have been in Black Sails. Love to have been in Black Sails. Have you guys seen that?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, dude, check
Heard
it out.
about it.
Check it out.
Oh, it was just described to me as like one of the Assassin's Creed games, except just take out the assassins.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag is one of my favorite PS4 games. Yeah, Black Sails. It's got one of the greatest theme tunes in it as well, written by Bear McCready of Battlestar Galactica fame, of course. Yeah, dudes, check out Black Sails. Awesome. First series, it takes a while to get through the first series, but the second series just is unbelievable, and the third series, awesome. Black Sails also has one of the greatest episodes of TV in it as well. It's set, I think, during a storm or after a storm at sea. One of the greatest episodes of TV. My favorite show ever is Sons of Anarchy. I'd have killed to have been in that. But my second favorite TV show is Black Sails. Check them out, guys. Check them out.
Definitely will do.
Good stuff.
I actually remember the question I was going to ask as well.
Go for it.
Well, I have two here. You can answer them in your own time. Most famous actor you've met, and actors you would like to work with in the future.
Okay. So most
that includes actresses.
Yeah.
But, that's the same thing, really.
Yeah. So, obviously I didn't get to work with, but I got to meet Ben Affleck and Gal and Jason. I remember, I'm sure they don't. But they were lovely and down to earth, really kind of kind people. I would dearly love to kind of hang out with Jason and go for some beers. because he kind of just seems like that type of guy, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess they're probably, you know, they're probably up there. Who would I like to work with? I mean, I worked with Jude Law on a TV show called The Third Day, which was due to have been aired in May, but because of the lockdown, it's been pushed back, because there's kind of a mid-season live event. I'm pretty certain I'm allowed to say this now because it's been made public.
Let's hope you can.
Yeah, if not, we'll just edit this bit out. Yeah, I'm pretty certain Sky announced that there's a live event that, you know, that I was going to be part of, and I hope I still am. So working with Jude Law on that was great, and of course Jude also played beg pardon, Jude also played young Dumbledore in Fantastic Beasts, in the second one, along with Catherine Waterston, who is the female protagonist of Fantastic Beasts. And I got to work with Catherine Waterston on The Third Day as well. So we were kind of sharing Harry Potter stories between me, Jude, and Catherine, which was really nice. And Catherine was lovely to work with. Jude was awesome to work with. You know, you hear so many tales of don't look at them in the eye, don't approach them, don't do this. And it's, you know, it's all bullshit. You know, it really, really is. I've never met an actor like that whatsoever, and I wouldn't ever want to be considered an actor like that. We're all there doing the same job, and we're all got the same shit to go through, and, you know, everyone's kind of chancing their luck through this industry. So yeah, there's all bullshit. But who would I like to work with? Oh well, okay, I would love to work with Samuel L. Jackson. Absolutely love to work with him. How we can make that happen, I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever. But yeah, I think he's, you know, he's an absolute legend and an icon.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler. I would love to work with Adam Sandler as well.
He was kind of like a joke as an actor. Like, people did not respect his work, but then Uncut Gems came out, and like he's up there. He was a great actor. He was so good. Yeah,
I haven't seen that yet, but what I have seen is every night we sit down as a family and watch a film together. We've just taken our older two through Stranger Things, which is cool. It's lovely. As they're growing older, we can watch more things, and I'm really looking forward to the day that we can show them Sons of Anarchy. But last night's film was a film called The Cobbler, which
where he makes shoes.
Yeah, and he was so good in that.
He was good,
so good. And it was a really touching story. What year was it? 2014.
I actually seen this movie,
yeah.
And it was so good. Now, obviously, Uncut Gems is newer than The Cobbler, but the thing with Adam Sandler, I guess, is, you know, I watched so many of his movies as I was growing up. Started with Airheads with Brendan Fraser, one of my favorite movies ever. Adam Sandler was in that, and he always seemed to play the kind of the quiet, timid, innocent guy until he snapped and got really angry and then was like this monster. And that seemed to just be every single film. He played that same kind of character, which obviously doesn't make him a character actor. It makes him, this is why you get Adam Sandler in, because he plays that perfectly, you know. Watching The Cobbler was like watching a different actor. And at the end of it, my wife and I, we spoke, and I was like, holy shit, he was amazing in The Cobbler. Just so good. There was, you know, there was a little bit of kind of old Adam Sandler in there, but there was this new refound Adam Sandler. So yeah, I'd love to work with him as well. So if you can get me in a movie with Sam Jackson and Adam Sandler, it's a win-win.
Sure, we'll get them on the show and we'll put in the word for you.
Yeah, if they're watching the podcast, I'm sure.
Well, tag them.
You.
Tag them. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson is famous
2
for.
years from now.
Go on.
Go on, sorry.
I was saying Samuel L.
Absolutely.
Jackson, I believe, is famous for if you pay him, he'll do it. Hence, Snakes on a Plane. So let's make that happen. I'd love to be successful in my career, that I'm able to kind of pick and choose roles and just provide for my family well enough. And if that happens in a couple of years, that'd be awesome.
Best of
Really
luck
cool.
to them.
Sorry, say
I'd
that
love
again?
to see it. Go on.
Sorry,
I can't quite hear you. Keep cutting out.
me or
I'd love to see in those roles with those actors.
Yeah, I don't know what the film would be like. I have absolutely no idea. But I'm sure it would be. I'm sure it would be a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of other actors. It's it's kind of weird thinking about who you'd like to work with. I think as well, I'd quite like to work with Maisie Williams, because watching her grow not only as an actor but kind of as a person throughout watching Game of Thrones was brilliant. And I don't want to be mean, but obviously younger actors, when they start out, obviously are still learning the trade, but getting to learn the trade on the job is something that isn't afforded to like emerging middle-aged actors. You kind of expected to know it all, but watching her from the get-go, she was kind of just a natural, so I think there's so much I could learn from her as well.
I've heard people say she looks like a young grandmother.
A young grandmother. Yeah, I get that actually. Yeah. Looking
that's
now. Oh, of course, Doctor Who. She popped up in Doctor Who. David Tennant, he'd be awesome to work with. And another wild card is Bradley Cooper.
you'd have to work with him.
Oh, he's great.
He is incredible.
When I kind of saw Bradley Cooper, as an actor before I started getting into this, I saw him very much as he was kind of a hunky, good-looking, eye candy. But then I saw him on an interview in the Actors Studio, and I realised actually how complex and how deep of an actor he is. And and again, I could learn a ton from an actor like him. I think there's some of the actors that really, now you force me to think about it, that I'd really, really love to work with.
I love him in
because
Limitless.
he's Hellboy.
He I feel like a lot of people's first thought, or like the first film that people would have seen Bradley Cooper in would have been like The Hangover. And so everyone thought he'd be like this new funny guy. And then he went on and did Limitless and American Sniper. And it complete, like, no one thought he could do a serious role after the Hangover movies.
Yeah.
And then when American Sniper came out, everyone was singing his praises. Like, it was a really good film.
There's legitimately no doubt he's an amazing actor. Being the kind of actor, and watching his interview on the Actors Studio, which if you get the chance to watch it, really, really do watch it. He's an inspiration, absolutely inspiring as his depth of knowledge is, again, because he's trained, but obviously he's got the natural flair. I'm not. I'm an experiential actor. I've got lots of experiences that I can bring into roles. Obviously, there's some things, as we discussed earlier, that I don't have experience of, and that's when you just got to practice the job and practice until you get there. But I would, I'd love to work with Bradley Cooper, because I just think it would be a lot of fun for a start, and I think I could learn I could learn an absolute ton from him. Yeah. So there we go. You asked me for one, I gave you 4. Sorry about that.
It's better you gave more.
Yeah.
Because maybe one day we'll actually, like, there's a higher chance now we'll see with one of them. Just start naming them off. We'll be there in a couple of days.
Who knows? Hey. But
so before we finish up,
tag them when you post out about this. Tag them for the love of the gods.
Perfect.
Tag them.
Before we finish up,
Sure.
I don't know if you can. What can you tell us about your up and coming projects, or can you say anything?
Well, so up and coming projects. I filmed last year for the third day. We discussed that a little bit briefly earlier. That's also still up and coming. So that's yet to air on TV, and that's going to be awesome.
It looks great.
The third day is going to be awesome. I thought it was going to be like like Chernobyl was the TV show of last year. Yeah. I felt that the third day was going to be the TV show of this year, and then coronavirus had other plans for that. So you can read a bit about the third day, read up about that, see what you think, but it's definitely going to be worth a watch.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am, and hopefully there's still a bit of continued work going on there. I got involved in a project called the Nighttime World, which I don't really want to say too much about that, but that was awesome to be involved with. I got to work with some friends as well on that, which was an absolute pleasure. There's nothing better than working with friends, and it's quite. Oh no, I can't even say that.
No, if you can't say anything, it's okay.
It's gonna be really, really good. Yeah, I got to work with a couple of my friends on that directly. I mean, the cast is huge, but the entire cast don't get to work together. But it's going to be awesome. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And also part of that production team is a company called Slade Wolf Enterprises, who have written a show called Danelaw, which was set. So I'm very, very typecast in this. So Danelaw is set after the Northmen came over to Albion, which is England at the time, and settled on the massive swathe of land called Danelaw. They're producing that, and they're writing. Lexi Wolf is one of the writers on that. She is also going to be playing one of the characters in it. I'm really, really excited about that. It's kind of moving between being a film or a TV series, then maybe back to a film, then maybe back to a TV series. But that's getting closer and closer, and I'm really, really excited about that, because that's going to be one of my first real kind of featured roles in a TV show. Other than that, COVID-19 really destroyed this industry this year, and lots of the projects that I was going to be involved in have shut down. Just completely and utterly disappeared, and I really, really can't talk. Sorry?
That's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why, of course. I think everybody understands why. And lots of actors have tried to make the best of it. I did some storytelling. I told some tales of Beedle the Bard on my YouTube channel, just to try and keep myself, in the creative headspace. And then some friends of mine wrote some stories that I told on YouTube. But yeah, so many productions were just gone like that. And yeah, 3 productions that I were involved in, they've dried up. So yeah, ultimately I'm available for work. What you'll also see if you go to my YouTube channel is I've recently got involved in the world of drone photography, because one of the things that I've noticed is that independent productions really struggle with being able to use drone footage, on the third day, there were some drone operators, but you're looking at £2,500–3,000 a day. Independent productions can't afford that. And I love independent cinema and independent film. So I looked at getting a drone, looked at how I could pivot maybe a little bit of my business and offer services to people, independent productions who need some drone photography. So I've got a few of my terrible learning drone videos up there. Yeah, my YouTube channel's quite eclectic. But hell, you know, if you want to waste some time and bump up my views, feel free. That'd be great.
That's actually why I'm clicking in. You've 1 million views on one video.
Yeah, so but that's arguably not my video. So the story behind that is when I watched the 2012 Olympics, the highlight of the performance for me at the end was Annie Lennox's performance. Now, I am a native of Sussex, and in Sussex we have a tradition around October to the end of November of bonfire. So there are lots of processions through the streets, people carrying torches. I'm in a band. We go around, we bang drums, entertain the crowds, and it's all very heathen and very tribal and very earthy. And when I saw her,
yeah, we've seen a picture earlier.
Oh, okay, awesome. And when I saw Annie Lennox's performance, I got that feeling of kind of Sussex bonfire. But I couldn't find a video that had good audio and good video. I could find a video that had great video and crap audio, or had crap video and great audio. So I kind of grabbed the two, edited it together, and put it up there, mainly for my own enjoyment. But yeah, other people seem to like that as well. So that's the video that's got like the most views. Nothing of mine at all, because it's all trash. But you know, it's the stories. When I read the stories from Tales of Beedle the Bard, obviously J.K. Rowling is in the press at the moment, under a lot of fire for some comments. But I think there's a great argument for separating the artist from the art. You know, there are lots of artists in history who...
I just want to bring one up there. The most extreme example. Hitler was an
exactly
artist.
what you're going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was also vegetarian, wasn't he?
And he was anti-smoking.
So yeah, you know, let's do this. Hitler's
We're going down this. I'm going to get on.
Do it.
I'm going to be put on a list for this.
So yeah,
he was a terrible, terrible person.
Of course he was.
That looks pretty cool. And if they had let him into art college
I got to
when
say,
he tried to get in twice.
That one from BBC looks a bit like a Bob Ross painting. So not? Yeah, might call fake news on that. That's the one. It looks a bit Bob Ross, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Who knows? So yeah, I'm a big fan of separate the art from the artist, because the two don't necessarily go hand in hand. So anyway, I read some Tales of Beedle the Bard, and I really, really enjoyed them because, you know, I've read them to my kids years ago. I like the stories, you know, being able to read from a book and entertain some people. And so, you know, that got some followers for me. And of course, lots of actors and performers are trying to find ways to keep themselves employed during this time. And I thought, like many people, I'm sure, oh, you know, I'll get my YouTube channel subs up and then I'll monetize it, and then I can do this and I can do that. But sadly, my YouTube channel was demonetized for repetitive content, which might be a load of my drone videos. I don't know, because they never tell you why. They never tell you why it's been demonetized. They just say, make sure your videos adhere to our policy. And I'm like, well, tell me which ones don't. That's the easier way, you know.
Let us know in future, and we might be able to figure it out for you. That might be. Do you use music in them?
Sorry?
Did you ever use like music in them?
I do, but I use Incompetech for my music. And I always credit, so you know, I use with attribution in this. I buy the tracks. I've got a feeling which video it is. Now, I mentioned earlier, I'm a big fan of Metallica. They were my favorite band growing up, and over the lockdown period, Metallica have been releasing their some of their live shows to watch, and so I watched their 2012 playthrough of the Black Album, and that's just a great album. Lots of people hate it. Lots of people said they're sold out, but that album brought heavy metal to the masses, and we've got so many great bands because of Metallica and because of the Black Album. I love all their stuff before Master of Puppets, just thrash personified. So anyway, whilst I was watching the video, watching their YouTube video, they started. I think they came on. They played like 3 or 4 of their old songs, and then they were playing their Black Album in its entirety from the last track, Struggle Within, to Enter Sandman, and they had this amazingly epic intro to Struggle Within, and it had been re-engineered and re-edited, and the layers had come in really nuanced, and the intro for Struggle Within is normally about 20 seconds or so, but the intro they did was about 2 minutes long, and I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. I'd love to hear a studio version of that. Tried to find one, couldn't. People had attempted it, but all they'd done was taken bits of the intro of the song and copied and pasted to make it really, really, really long. But that wasn't what the intro was. So I then found a dude on YouTube, Chaosware, I think the guy's name is, and he did a video of him playing guitar, showing you how to play each individual part and the harmonics and the layers of the intro. And I was able to kind of extract those and then, using Adobe Audition, layer them up. But he was playing slightly slower, so I had to kind of speed it up a little bit. And also at points he was fading out, so I was using my audio engineering ability to layer the tracks and actually produce a 100% accurate studio version of that intro music. But I think because I've done that, they've said, well, that's low quality. You've just taken someone else's track and put a small intro on the start. But it took me a week to do it, because I also did subtitles, and I was making sure that the tracks were the correct volume. Yeah, and I credited Chaosware. I dropped him a message and I said, look, I've used it here. Please go and check it out. I've credited you. If you want me to take it down, please do. You could argue I should have asked first, but I often think it's better to seek forgiveness than to ask permission. So I think it's possibly that video, but it's a shame because part of the YouTube thing that came through as why it's been taken down is repetitive / low quality. Well, and it only happened after I put that Metallica video up. Like literally within a day of putting that up, my YouTube channel was demonetized, and I'd only made like $5 from it, so we're not talking loads. But it wasn't low quality. It took me a week of editing and engineering and doing the subtitles, and I tried to make it funny so that people would look at the subtitles and laugh at a few bits. But yeah, YouTube demonetized it, and obviously YouTube being the massive company they are, you haven't got anyone to talk to.
Is it just your video or the whole channel?
It was the whole channel was demonetized. The whole channel.
How do they justify that?
Because they say it's repetitive, or I'm using other people's material, which I am obviously using Annie Lennox. I found good audio, good video, bunged it together, put it up there. But that was way back when you were able to say, I don't intend to infringe copyright, and they've monetized that themselves anyway, so you can link, they automatically links to their music, and the idea of that is to allow people to be creative with other people's music without taking away from those, because by no means am I trying to take away from these artists. They're not struggling, but that's not the point. I'm not trying to take away from them. But obviously I have used Metallica's Struggle Within when so you'll see it there. Yeah, there it is. The Struggle Within, including 20th anniversary extended intro. That took forever. It took forever to make. But
I put it on only it could demonetize us.
No, I know. Have a watch of it afterwards. I understand, absolutely. Have a watch of it afterwards, and see what you think. But yeah, it was kind of a bit of a, I get it. It's not even fair use. I've used the entirety of their track, but I felt I added value to it. And if you click on the video, you see that it links to Metallica Struggle Within, where you can buy it. So I'm not taking revenue away from them. I get YouTube is a massive behemoth of a monster, but I think some of their automated processes.
If you delete it, you might be able to ask it to be revised.
Yeah, I did. I deleted a load of videos because my the drone videos that I've been taking, I've been putting up on YouTube privately so that I can watch them on my TV with the kids, because I've done some with the kids in. But they're all very samey, flying around a field, flying around a lake. So I thought that might be the repetitive content. So I took a load of those down, reapplied for monetization, and here was the here was the bugger. When I applied for monetization, it was back in November 2019. It took 6 months for it to be approved, and then I only had it on for a month, and then it was taken down, and then you have to wait a month before you can apply for it again. So I waited the month, deleted loads of the drone videos, applied for it, and within a day we've got, no, it hasn't been approved, it still contravenes our policies, delete any videos that contravene the policies, and apply again in a month. You're like, oh god, come on.
That's not fun.
They don't make it easy, but hey, if you don't pay for the product, you are the product. That's what they say, isn't it?
You get what you pay for, I suppose.
That's it. And yeah, we don't pay for it. So yeah, that was a bit of a tangent, wasn't it? That was a bit out there.
Yeah, but that's what we live for here.
Awesome.
If people want to go and they want to follow you and check out what you're doing now, where can they find you?
Wow. Well, you can find me pretty much everywhere. My Facebook is Greg Draven Actor. You'll find my professional page there. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, simply at Greg Draven. I've got a YouTube channel. It's mainly bullshit, as we've just discovered. But yeah, just hit up Greg Draven there. You can find me there. And please do come and say hello. I love engaging with people. I love talking to people. And the Harry Potter fandom, they're a wonderful, wonderful fandom. So if you've got any Harry Potter fans watching that would love to chat, I'd love to have a chat with them.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys. It's been a
so much for getting on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Yeah. We'll talk about at the end. We'll end the video now.
Yeah.
So, thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you very much.
Make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and tell your grandma about the podcast. Bet she'd love it. Could you do one thing for us for the last bit of the video? Could you say you're a wizard, Harry?
Oh, right then. You're a wizard, Harry, and a thumping good one, I bet.
Beautiful. Thanks, everyone. Take it happy.
Take care, guys.